Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 11, Episode 6, The Liberation of Jayne. Well, this episode begins at the exact moment that episode 5 ended and began. Erika is walking into the door of Sutton's Parisian party, and everyone turns to the door, and she says, "I'm here. Hello." The ladies joyfully squeal. I mean, like, literally squeal. I think Rinna was applauding. I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating that. I mean, if I knew I would get that warm of a reception, I'd get divorced. Kidding. Erika goes, "Sutton, I'm sorry I didn't bring a hostess gift, but it's been a rough week." Sutton, "Oh, don't worry, you are the gift." Although, side note, I don't think anybody else gave her a hostess gift either, and I'm pretty sure Sutton would have. Sutton doesn't go anywhere without bringing a gift. So, side note, what is going on here, though? Seriously. Erika basically lies to the ladies about the state of her marriage for the entire time they are in Lake Tahoe together, yet everyone is sympathetic and very happy to see her, understanding of giving her space and time to process things. They don't want to push her too much. I mean, does anyone think that Denise fucking Richards would have gotten the same respect? Or would she have been beaten down because she lied to them in Tahoe and then driven off the show? Oh my God, everyone is like doing cheers with their glasses to her one by one. I'm confused. Crystal, even Crystal, who doesn't like anything or anyone, shows no expression ever. That Crystal, yeah, okay, we're good. That Crystal says, "I am so into this dress." The dress that last week I thought she may have picked up at an Ann Taylor outlet mall. Erika's like, "Thank you." She goes. Then she says, "So what's going on, ladies?" Not a peep. Not a peep out of one of them. Finally, Sutton said, "Well, we're in France today, so it's a good day." In Garcelle's confessional, she said, "Well, you're getting a divorce, you didn't tell your friends, and you're walking in asking what's going on?" That's a very good question. So now they head into the dining room for lunch, and all the ladies are raving about how beautiful it is. Everything's exquisite, and I can't help but notice that it is still screaming wedding, because those are the exact same flowers. Should have hired Larry Scott. And then the first course is being brought out, and Kyle's like, "This looks delicious." Lisa, Rinna, "Come on, are you kidding me? This is a good day." The camera shows us what looks like a plate of plain lettuce. I mean, I'm not even sure you could call that a salad. Kyle's like, "I feel free as a breeze today. I really feel lighter." Crystal laughs because I'm sure she thinks there's a joke coming. No, there's not. Kyle just says that Mercury is in retrograde, which I always thought meant things are going wrong for people. But she is light as a breeze. Oh, okay, now she does blame Mercury being in retrograde for the reason why she and Dorit had a little kerfuffle on the plane. And Garcelle said, "Yeah, are we going to fix this, ladies?" And Kyle goes, "Let me just say this. Something with Dorit and me, it's almost sister-like. We have the best time, but then, sometimes your sister can snap at you." Dorit's nodding. "Yeah, that's true." Kathy, "Do I snap at you, Kyle?" And Kyle's like, "Well, no, not now. But you have in all the years." Dorit just says, "I do want to have a conversation with you, Kyle." Garcelle goes, "Should we give her a timer? Because you are long-winded. I mean, I love you, but..." Kathy goes, "What?" And Garcelle said, "She's long-winded." And Kathy goes, "Oh, you are?" Kyle's like, "Well, Kathy speaks in shorthand." Rinna, "Oh, I love a good shorthand." What are you talking about? Kyle does this really funny impression of Kathy. Kyle goes, "Well, I can tell you one thing. I was talking to, and I was like, you know what I mean? And I thought to myself, you know what I'm saying? And I was like ready to, I'm telling you, so I'm not going to do it, Kyle. And I'm like, who the hell are we talking about? And everyone is dying laughing. And then Sutton announces, we're doing something for Kathy. The caviar is being served at the table. Kathy's like, yeah, what happens is it gets really gluey, even if it's waiting for just a minute. Well, surprise, surprise, I've never had caviar. I know, hard to believe. But I have also never seen it served in a potato. Well, everyone loves it. Lisa is like trying to be careful with Erika, but she wants to know what's going on. So she broaches the subject by asking Erika how her dog is adjusting to the divorce. In her confessional, Lisa goes, we need to allow some space for Erika to share with us when she's ready to. Oh, really? I have 3 words for you, Rinna. Denise fucking Richards. Where was the space for her? I'm not knocking Erika yet. I don't know what she knew or didn't know, and I'm not sure what her reasons are here for not telling them. So this isn't about her. This is about how everybody is treating her. And the double standard, the difference between the way Erika is being treated and the way Denise was treated is night and day. And I just think it's interesting. Then Garcelle says to Sutton, are we going to tell everybody about what we did yesterday? And Sutton's like, well, I bought a car yesterday. Now, guys, I didn't even hear anybody ask her what kind of a car. But right away, Erika said, well, I need a ride, so how about picking me up? And Sutton's like, oh, I'll pick you up for sure, yeah. I don't remember anyone picking up Denise. Just kidding. I'll stop now. So Rinna says to Erika, did you get a new car? Which sounds like a weird question to ask somebody who just said, I need a ride. But what's even weirder is that Erika says, yes, I did actually. So you don't need a ride then. Garcelle said, what did you get? Erika, a Range Rover. Silence. I'm sorry. It's like she said I got an 83 Honda Civic. I mean, it's a Range Rover. Is that supposed to be like pitiful? I love it. So then Erika, okay, let's discuss the elephant in the room. Yeah, so my life drastically changed this week. I let go of my Lamborghini. I let go of my 16,000 square foot house. I let go of my marriage. I let go of everything. In her confessional, she said that she left because Tom pushed her further and further out. The conversations they had were reduced to a sentence or two. We get some sad music now while the camera pans through her empty home. She says her marriage was headed down a bad path and she needed to do what was right for her. Then she tells the ladies that she purposely didn't tell anyone because it would put them in a bad position. Like if they had information that they had to hold on to and not tell anyone. She didn't want to put anyone in that position. She also admitted that it doesn't serve her very well to talk a lot about what's happening legally, she said, because I'm married to someone who's very good in that area. So basically, Erika made Tom out to be extremely controlling, which we know he is because of her first season. I thought he was scary the way he talked to her, the way he talked to everybody. And then he got a huge image change her second season, and from that point on, he was lovable, sweet Tom, who let Erika do whatever she wanted. Anyway, basically, she says that she'll tell them more once she knows what's coming for her. And it will be coming. Yikes. Rinna, and we'll be here for you. Yes, all the ladies agree. And then we get Erika saying, well, I'll tell you this. I did not see it ending this way. I was going to hold that man's hand until the day he died. And to Garcelle's point, might not have been that much longer. In Lisa's confessional, she says, Erika has a reason for every step she's taking. Tom's a lawyer, and I'm worried about how vicious it could get. I worry for Erika. Then Erika invites them all over to her tiny baby doll house. Dorit, I can't wait to come, Erika. She said she found it online. It's a rental. Someone asked if she needed to buy furniture, and she said, no, it's stole the furniture from my house. And then she's like, I took my furniture. In her confessional, Erika said, I mean, it's not like I had two 18-wheelers back up to the front door and clean the place out. Okay, but if I were her, I would be very careful about what I'm saying on this show. Wouldn't you? I don't think I would have said, even if I was joking, I stole the furniture. No way. I would have just said, yeah, I need to get a few things. So now Kathy said, whether it's true or not, when someone's on the cover of a magazine, that is never a good thing. All the ladies agree. Kathy's like, and that's why a lot of the big people, you don't really... Silence. Kyle, this is shorthand, by the way. Happening right here. And everybody starts laughing. Kathy goes, God forbid I be long-winded. There is actual screaming going on now. Dorit is a good sport, high fives Kathy. And then Sutton announces that dessert is going to be served outside. Maybe what $35,000 buys you when you have a party is that everyone has a good time. No one fights with each other. So everyone is now standing at one little table outside, even though there are about 4 or 5 tables set up. And so dessert, I guess, is an opera cake with your name on it and some cut up strawberries. Kyle and Dorit go inside for round 2 and they try and talk things out. Dorit starts by saying, you and I both know this isn't the first time you've done this to me, Kyle. And Kyle goes, well, Garcelle just said it right now. Dorit, what did Garcelle say? That you're long-winded. I think Dorit knows exactly what Garcelle said, but I love that she is making Kyle say it right now. Kyle is just saying it in a very backpedally kind of way. Well, just that sometimes you can be a little long-winded, but I like that about you. I find it endearing. Yeah, it's just so endearing that you are waiting and you can't get a word in edgewise, huh? Anyway, she said, I just didn't think I deserved to be snapped at. They do eventually make up. Kyle's going to be more sensitive to the times that she's cutting Dorit off. And Dorit agrees to be more careful that she's not dominating the conversation. Meanwhile, the other ladies are in the other room, and Erika is telling them that it took a lot of mental fortitude for me to come here today. And they're all just so glad she came. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, though. So Kathy says, you don't seem like you were so attached to the house, though, You seem like you just moved on pretty well. Erika, can I tell you? It wasn't my house to begin with. I'm the 3rd wife that lived there. Really? I did not know that. That's some good juicy info, right? Sutton said, do you think he'll stay there? Erika's like, oh yeah, definitely. And he should, it's his home. I mean, he didn't move for the first 2 wives. Why would he move for Erika? Although, he might have to move this time. Then we cut to Kyle and Dorit. And Dorit goes, what about Sutton and Crystal? And Kyle goes, oh, I think they're okay now. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to be besties, but Dorit goes, here's the thing. Crystal was telling me why she didn't come to dinner that night. And Kyle's like, yeah, I know. Sutton didn't mean any harm. She didn't know. Dorit, but she didn't knock. She did knock. I mean, she knocked and then went in. But whatever. Kyle said, even if she didn't, there was no ill intention there. And Dorit goes, I just feel like, if they're undressed, you just walk out. And Kyle said she did. She gave her the coat and she left. And we saw that in the flashback a couple of times now. She was in and out in 7 seconds. She made a weird comment that I believe was an attempt at humor, maybe, but, Sutton and she were not on good terms that day or at all. And, it was just a bad idea. I think maybe Sutton was embarrassed and just said something weird that she thought would be funny because she was embarrassed that she caught Crystal undressed. Kyle's like, she didn't hang out in there. Dorit goes, that's not what Crystal said, though. Then we get a flashback to 3 days earlier, Dorit and Crystal talking about it. Crystal says, well, I was naked in my room. And she's like, what are you doing in here? Well, I'm crouched on the ground naked. And she's laughing at me. And she sort of tried to shame me. It was so weird and creepy. Dorit goes, oh my God. So now to Kyle, Dorit said she felt violated. And she's like, I mean, that's a dangerous implication. To say you felt violated, I mean, the word violated sounds a lot worse than the conversation I had with her when we were in Lake Tahoe. Then we get a flashback to that. And Crystal was kind of downplaying it at that time. Kyle's like, it's implying that something sinister happened. Like Sutton had weird intentions or something. It was an awkward moment for both of them. And I would hate for something to be made of something that there's nothing to be made out of. Now we are with Garcelle in her home, and she is meeting with a matchmaker. So if you're playing at home, you can check that one off your bingo card. Why? Has meeting with a matchmaker become the new vaginal rejuvenation for these housewives? I would almost rather go back to that. We need to just get all the single ladies from all the franchises into one big speed dating show. Garcelle, Sonia, Ramona. Wait, why isn't Ramona dating this year? Remember how she was so desperate to find a man? I haven't heard a peep about Ramona finding a man this year, unless she already found one. But I feel like she wouldn't be keeping that a secret if she did. I don't know. Anyway, Garcelle tells her that the attributes she's looking for in a man are that he's kind, loyal, monogamous. She does get emotional when she talks about how she has taken care of herself since she was 17 years old. And she feels like she has to take every job offer that comes her way because all of that, those are the privileges that her mother brought her to this country for. And so she doesn't want to ever turn anything down. And she's just been working and supporting her family. Okay, so now we get to see Erika's little house for the first time with the gourmet kitchen and the in-ground pool and the huge cabana. I feel so sorry for her. Good news, though, Mikey hasn't abandoned her yet. He comes over with some artwork. He and the assistant, I can't remember what her name is, they come over with artwork and a tool kit. I guess he's going to help her hang some pictures and stuff. I don't know. I think it's sweet. Either that or he's been paid up through the end of the month. Who knows? In her confessional, Erika tells us, after I found a place to live, I dropped Tom off at work, I went home, and I moved out. I was out in a day. We see a side-by-side of her old house and the new house she's renting. And, guys, somehow I just knew that her little doll house that she's renting would be bigger than my home. And it is. It's like 2,000-something square foot. Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, boy. Okay. Erika tells us a fun little story in her confessional. She said that one time she was meeting Tom and these 5 other guys for dinner, and she was late. So when she got there, she apologized, and she said she was stuck in traffic. One of the men said, well, if you were married to a better man, traffic wouldn't be a problem for you. And Tom looked him straight in the eye across the table and said, well, if you think you can afford her, you can have her. And she said that just flew right out of his mouth so easily. She never told anyone before, but she has always felt so beholden to him because she had nothing when she met him. Now she says, I mean, was it great to have the car, the house, the clothes? Yes, but at what cost? Okay, next we are getting a mammogram with Sutton. Oh, okay, so we're zooping back 3 weeks. Sutton is on the phone with Kyle, and she mentioned to her that she has never had a mammogram before. Never. And Kyle goes, are you kidding me? What the heck is wrong with you? So Sutton's like, that was a huge mistake. I never should have told her. We go back to an hour before, and Kyle is now picking her up and taking her to the place to get a mammogram. So she gets through it okay. She's scared, but Kyle's waiting for her in the waiting room. And also, the surgeon and the radiologist just sitting in the waiting room waiting for Sutton to get dressed and come out and meet them. I guess it helps to be a friend of Kyle Richards. Or at least on a Bravo show because, the rest of us usually have to wait a while before we get the results. Oh, quick side note. I love Sutton's poncho or her wrap, whatever that is. It's super cute. Anyway, like I said, the doctors are able to tell Sutton immediately that everything looks good and she's fine and ready to go. So they leave and Sutton has to wait for, I don't know, some kind of paperwork that she has to give her regular doctor. So she and Kyle are sitting there and Kyle said, I don't know if I should bring this up right now or not. I don't know if this is a good time. And Sutton's like, when it rains, it pours. Just bring it on. So Kyle said, how did you and Crystal leave things in Tahoe? And Sutton said, we were fine, Kyle. I asked because she brought up you bringing her jacket to her to Dorit. And Dorit said she was very upset and that she felt violated. Sutton's like, okay. Well, I'm sorry she felt violated by me knocking on her door and bringing her her coat. Then we see the flashback again, and it is literally about 8 seconds from the time she opened the door to the time she walked out and closed it behind her. Now, Sutton did make it weird by saying, I don't know what you're doing in here. Crystal says, I'm putting my pajamas on. And Sutton goes, and she's closing the door behind her. She's out. Now, like I said, with how rocky this relationship has been between her and Crystal, even trying to make a joke was inappropriate. Like, they don't know each other that well. That was not the time for anything other than, oops, I'm sorry, I was just going to bring you your coat with your head turned, you know? But it's not like she lingered there or laughed. She didn't laugh at her. Or do anything super weird like Crystal is implying now. Crystal's story gets worse and worse with every retelling. I mean, by the time she tells the last woman, it's going to be, Sutton came in my room, sat down on my bed, drank a Red Bull, and watched me put my pajamas on. Okay, now we get a flashback to the last conversation that Sutton and Crystal did have right before they left Tahoe. And Crystal told Sutton, I'm not going to talk about it with any of the other ladies because it's not that big of a deal. So anyway, Kyle says to Sutton, I just don't like the nature of this conversation. And I just think you need to nip it in the bud. Sutton, I'll nip it. I'm going to put the jam on this old stale piece of toast. Never heard that one before. Okay, now we are having hot toddies with Lisa, Rinna, and Erika. You guys, Rinna is so over the top. I can't stand it. She's like so phony. I don't know. It's like she's falling all over Erika and... I can't stand it. Anyway, they talk about her lip kit is ready to launch, I guess. And then Erika tells her that she's never felt this vulnerable before. She said she really attempted to talk to Tom, but that he left her no room for that. In Lisa's confessional, she said, Tom was definitely the boss in their relationship. And now you guys were getting a flashback to 2015, and this is what I was talking about. This is what I remember about him being so scary. The ladies are over for drinks or something, and I guess the guys too, because Ken is there. Anyway, Tom is talking, and he said, well, that can be very... And Lisa Vanderpump goes, what about my web? And Tom goes, excuse me, pardon me, I think I'm talking right now. Oh, and he said it to Lisa Vanderpump. So then he goes, I'm running the operation, baby. And Erika goes, no, turns. Pardon me, Erika. It is all coming back to me now. So anyway, Erika says to Rinna, I almost suggested a trial separation, but I knew it wouldn't work. With Tom, you're either in or you're out. And if you're out, you're dead. Erika goes, I didn't leave a note. And Lisa's like, you just left, Erika? And then he got served? I drove him to work. I told him I loved him. And he said, thanks, hon, like I was an employee. Now we cut to Erika's confessional, and she's crying, which I feel like you rarely see that. Although I guess we're going to be seeing some of that in episodes to come. She's like retelling it in her confessional, and she goes, thanks, hon. And that's the last I've seen of him. Anyway, she tells Lisa now, dropped him off at work. I went home, put everything in the moving van, and I drove off, went to my new place. I spent the night there, and he was served the next morning. In her confessional, Erika said, He's not going to play games with me. He'll be like, fuck it. Fuck her. She left me. Fuck her. You want to go out on your own? Go. That's what I'm guessing. She says, so I'm expecting the worst, but hoping for the best. And he's got some challenges ahead of him. Okay. So that kind of shocked me that she said he's got some challenges ahead of him, because that feels like an admission that she knows what's going on, or at least that she knew he was doing something, unethical, if not illegal. Or like my very first thought was this whole thing, her divorcing him, is all just part of this like master plan that she and Tom and the lawyers have cooked up to, I don't know, protect some of his assets or something. I don't know. She is definitely saying some things on this show that surprised me. That to me, it feels like she's not being as careful as I would think she would be, Anyway, next we are at Crystal's house. She and her cousin are in the kitchen and they are making dumplings. Apparently when everyone was at Sutton's house for the Parisian party, Crystal had invited them all to come over to her house to learn how to make dumplings, that she was going to teach them, like give them a little cooking lesson. And I guess it's an old recipe of their grandmother's, I think. But they're like, chopping up cabbage and making all the stuff for the inside. And then somebody says something about the way they wrap it, and Crystal goes, oh, I forgot to get the wraps. So she goes running in the other room. Rob, you have to go right now. You have to go to the store right now and get these wraps. I'm sorry, doesn't Rob Minkoff have more important things to do? Where's your brother? Isn't he supposed to be around to help out? Anyway, next we see Kyle. She's at her vanity curling her hair, and she calls Sutton, and she's like, what are you going to wear tonight? Sutton said, I'm wearing a suede dress because, what better to cook in than suede? And Kyle's like, do you think I need a coat? Sutton goes, would you like me to bring you one? And Kyle starts laughing. You pervert. Don't be bringing me any coats in the night. Way to nip this narrative in the bud, ladies. So now we check back at Crystal's, and Rob is back, saved the day. He got all the dough they need. He does look a little frazzled, though, and he's like, well, I'm going to go change now. I mean, he's kind of a lovable nerd, I think. I think Rob knows that Crystal's out of his league. I don't dislike him. I just think he's a little nerdish. All right, now all the ladies are arriving. Erika has a little short skirt on and boots. And of course, the ladies are just raving about how great she looks. This, bowing at the altar of Erika Jayne, it's so bizarre to me. I don't think there has any other housewife that all the ladies would act like this for. Anyway, in Garcelle's confessional, she said, wow, when I got divorced, I didn't want to do anything. But Erika walks in like sex and heels. So Erika orders a hot toddy from the server, and then she announces that she would like to tell a little story. Yeah. It's an interesting story. I've heard better stories. But she says to Kyle, that little present you gave me? I used it. And Kyle goes, which present? I'm thinking it was a vibrator. But then I'm also thinking that if Kyle gave her a vibrator, she would know what she meant when she said, that little present you gave me. So Kyle seems genuinely perplexed. And Erika goes, the oil. I'm lit. So I'm like, okay, so it's like THC or something. And Kyle goes, right now? Erika, right now. The story continues. There's an intimate oil that Kyle gave me. And Garcelle goes, is it CBD? And Erika's like, it's THC. Because, you're not going to be lit on CBD, Garcelle. No. So she goes, she's been telling us about this oil that she and Mauricio have been enjoying. And I said, hook a girl up. And I put it all over my... And my... Everyone screams. This is their new thing now. Ah! This scream laughter. Side note, why now, Erika? Just curious that you were given this gift and you choose to use it right before you're headed out to learn how to make dumplings with the girls. Just curious what the thought process was there. Anyway, good story, though. I thought that was it was very well told. There was a beginning, a middle, an end. It captivated the audience. Thank God Rob wasn't there. I feel like he would have just shrunk down into his little sweater vest. All right, so Sutton had gone inside to use the restroom or something, and now Crystal goes in the house to find her and tells her that she would like to have a little one-on-one. And Crystal said, "It's been brought to my attention that people are still talking about us." And Sutton goes, "Oh, I was going to bring it up, Crystal. I have to imagine that it's kind of annoying you because it's annoying me." I love the approach Crystal's taking. Like she didn't break her promise to not say anything. Sutton, "I think it's dangerous to talk behind each other's backs." Crystal, "I agree. Like I had promised you and you promised me we weren't going to talk about it with the others." "Yeah, Crystal, why are you bringing that up?" So Sutton said, "Well, you didn't do your promise." Crystal, "No, people keep coming up to me." "Oh, okay. So your promise was not that you wouldn't talk about it, but that you wouldn't bring it up." Anyway, we get a flashback to Rinna asking Crystal in the car with Dorit and Erika also in the car, what happened with you and Sutton. And Crystal tells them. And like I said, Crystal's stories get a little more elaborate every time. You know, "I was naked. I was covering myself and crouched down to the," she makes it into this big story, not as good as Erika's stories, but, we can't all tell a story like Erika. Anyway, after that, then Garcelle on the plane asks her what happened, and Kathy's there, so now she's retelling the story to Garcelle and Kathy. So I don't think there's anybody that hasn't heard the story from Crystal's lips. I know the story by heart now. "I was naked. I crouched. I was on the ground. She laughed at me. She made it weird. She said I was doing something weird." In her confessional, Crystal said, "I would love to never talk about this story again, but everyone keeps asking me and I have to respond." Okay, well, there's nobody left to ask you about it now, so it should end, but also you don't have to respond. Or you don't have to respond like that. All you have to do is say, "It was nothing, we worked it out. We're good now." Okay, so outside, the conversation is wild and raucous, and they're having a blast. Erika announces that she's given herself 90 days before she has sex. Then, I don't know, all bets are off after that. Inside, Crystal and Sutton agree they're all done talking about it, and they head outside to join the other ladies. Oh, maybe they're not all done talking about it. Sutton announces, "Crystal and I have something we want to share with the group. In Tahoe, I went to return Crystal's coat to her, and it was an awkward moment." And Crystal's nodding. She says, "Yes." Sutton, "And it's something that we talked about privately." And Crystal goes, "Yes. And like I said, it's over, and it's important for us to let the girls know it's over." Sutton, guys, I have no idea where this came from. Sutton goes, "But Crystal, for it to be over, you have to stop talking to everyone about it." Okay, Sutton, "Sweetie, I love you. You know I love you. You're my sweet, sweet Sutton. But you just put an end to that. And you also know there is no one else for her to talk to about it. Everyone has talked to her about it. Erika, Dorit, Lisa Rinna, Garcelle, Kathy, Kyle, everybody knows about it now. So why did you have to just say that?" Sometimes I think when women do things like that, it's because prior to coming, they had this all worked out in their head. I'm going to say to her, blah, blah, blah. And when something happens to kind of derail that, it's hard for them to not want to still say what they had practiced at home. That's the only explanation I have for Sutton to now say, "Crystal, for it to be over, you have to stop talking about it." Yeah, you guys just talked about that in the other room, remember? I don't know. Crystal goes, "I'm not talking about it anymore." Thank you. Sutton, "It's a little defamatory to say that I violated you." Okay, so it is what I thought. Sutton has things that she needs to get out. She practiced at home. She needs to say these things, and she wants to say them in front of everybody, not just alone in the other room with Crystal. That's what's going on here. She wants an audience. So Dorit said, "Well, she crouched down and she felt that..." Sutton, Dorit, I don't know why you're getting your little paws in this. Well, I don't know, Sutton, maybe because you have to say it in front of everybody. So Dorit said, well, I only heard her side of the story, and her only experience with you was bad. And someone, I think Erika's like, yeah, that's true. Crystal said, but it's over. It's really over, Sutton. That's great. So while we're on this topic, I struggled in Tahoe, but I'm not crazy. Okay. Well, you might be over it, Crystal, but Sutton is not. She's got to get all the things out that she practiced. Crystal's like, sure. Because at this point, Crystal's like giving her the death stare, you know? Sure. Sutton, calling me manic? All right, time out. I remember that scene, and what she said was, listen, I'm not a doctor, but like it felt manic to me, the way you were behaving. You know, you can't rewrite the story when it's all on film, ladies. That goes for Crystal as well, who retold the story of Sutton laughing and shaming her. So Sutton said, Crystal, you and I in the car ride home had a nice conversation, and I shared that my dad committed suicide. I don't have those issues. I had a bad 2 days. Crystal, I'm going to believe you. Sutton, right. Okay, because that's not the answer she wanted. Crystal's like, I still think you're manic, but in this moment, I'm going to choose to believe you. In Sutton's confessional, she goes, she's a mean girl. She's just like a mean high school girl. So Crystal said, I won't bring it up, I promise you. Sutton, I believe you. I believe you. Tit for tat. And then she goes, look at me, the picture of mental health. Everyone laughed, and Crystal said, I just want to have fun tonight. So they all go inside. Everyone's like, yes, let's do it. They all have their own little aprons with their names on them, and they are off to learn how to make dumplings. Oh, well, not exactly. All the ingredients have been pre-made by Crystal and her cousins, and so really all the women are learning how to do is to put a little bit of the ingredients inside and fold up the dumpling. I don't even think they cooked them. I think the other women were cooking them. Dorit's like, I can't wait to make these at home. You didn't learn how to do anything, Dorit. I will say that they look yummy. And they're just having fun. Garcelle said, I know it's not time, but like I would love to introduce you to my dating coach. Erika can't date. Look at her. She'll scare off any normal man. Plus, her vagina is high right now. I think she just needs to concentrate on becoming a professional storyteller. Anyway, there's desserts in the other room that look even better than the dumplings. And then the ladies are just kind of talking. And we end with yet another of Erika's confessionals. This one more ominous than all the others put together. She said, I have so many challenges in front of me, and there's just so much these women don't know. The end. Yes, wow. That was a good episode, wasn't it? That one was good. There was a lot of good stuff. You guys are ahead of me, but I hope that there's a lot of like Erika just purging all this stuff that she kept quiet about. I think that's going to be interesting, you know? Anyway, that is it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know I'm behind on everything. I'm trying to catch up, and I really want to catch up with Beverly Hills because I just think this has been a great season. And you know, it's funny. I was almost not going to even do it this year. Anyway, I want to hear what you guys think of the episode, so leave comments down below. If you liked this recap, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more content like this from me, please subscribe to my channel and click on that bell icon, and you will be notified every time I post a new video. All right, that's it from me. I will see you next week for the next recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Bye.